Have you ever wondered what would happen if a daytime drama felt, well, real? I mean, no private jets, no evil twins, just the warmth of a neighborhood bar, the day to day struggles of a working class family, the kind of drama that felt like it could be happening right down the street. Well, that's what we're talking about today, the story of a soap that broke all the rules by simply telling the truth. This quote, it just perfectly captures what made Ryan's Hope so revolutionary. In a TV landscape filled with over-the-top glamour, this show dared to find its drama in something way more relatable, the heart and grit of a real New York City neighborhood. So let's set the scene. It's July 7th, 1975, and creators Claire Labine and Paul Avila Mayer launch a show that was, in its own way, a quiet rebellion. At a time when soaps were getting bigger and crazier, they wanted to do the opposite, create something small, intimate, and deeply, deeply real. So, what made this show so different? Well, for starters, it was set in a real place, Washington Heights, New York City. And the central family, the Ryans, weren't just vaguely religious. No, they were devoutly Roman Catholic, and their faith was woven into the very fabric of their lives. That level of authenticity was something daytime TV had just rarely ever seen.
Now, the real engine of the show, especially in those celebrated early years, was this brilliant contrast between two very different families whose lives were just dramatically and completely intertwined.
And you can see the core conflict laid out right here. On one side, you have the Ryans. They own the local pub, they're holding on to tradition and faith for dear life. And on the other side, the wealthy, modern, secular Coleridges. Of course, their kids fall in love, their values clash, and from that friction came some of the most compelling drama on television. At the center of it all were Maeve and Johnny Ryan, played just perfectly by Helen Gallagher and Bernard Barrow. Maeve to soothe any heartache with a cup of tea, and Johnny ran the bar that was basically the community's living room. Their kids, though, they were caught right in the middle, between the old world of their parents and the rapidly changing new world of the 1970s. So the show had this amazing setup, but what truly made it a legend was its writing. The scripts were whip-smart, they were emotional, and they were unafraid to tackle issues that other shows just wouldn't dare touch. What was the secret sauce here? It wasn't just good dialogue. It was the choice to tell stories that actually reflected the real-world problems that its audience was facing every single day. Okay, case in point, the show's breakout star, Kate Mulgrew, as the headstrong journalist, Mary Ryan. Her fiery romance with reporter Jack Finelli wasn't just about love and passion. It was about her fierce refusal to give up her career ambitions for any man. I mean, this was a pretty radical idea for daytime television in the mid-70s. And the show didn't shy away from religious conflict either. When the Ryan son, Patrick, fell in love with Nancy Feldman, the obstacle wasn't some manipulative rival. It was the simple, heartbreaking fact that she was Jewish, and his devout mother, Maeve, would never approve. The conflict was so real, and because of that, it was just so powerful. And you know what? The industry noticed, big time. The show racked up Emmys for Best Drama, for its incredible writing, and multiple awards for its cast, including 3 for Helen Gallagher as the unforgettable Maeve. Ryan's Hope proved that realism could be just as gripping as any wild melodrama. But, as these stories often go, just as the show was hitting its creative and critical peak, things started to change backstage, and those changes began to shake its very foundation. The hope that defined this series was about to be seriously tested. It all started with this sequence of just devastating blows. First, the heart of the show, Kate Mulgrew, left. After a failed recast, the network had to kill off its most popular character. And then, the creators sold their beloved project to ABC, and they lost creative control. It was the perfect storm. Without its original creators at the helm and its central hero gone, the show began to stray from its grounded roots. The writers started embracing these bizarre, over-the-top plots that felt like they belonged on a completely different show. And yes, you were seeing that correctly. In a plot that became absolutely infamous, the scheming Delia Reed was kidnapped by a gorilla. I mean, it was such a wild departure from the kitchen table drama fans had come to love. As if that wasn't enough, another storyline had Siobhan Ryan being stalked by a shark. Yeah, the show that began with greedy realism was now dipping its toes into summer blockbuster territory. And just when you thought it couldn't get any stranger, there was this. A storyline where a character was believed to be the reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian queen. It was official. The show had lost its anchor to reality. This was daytime drama at its most wonderfully unhinged. But really, these surreal plots were a symptom of a much larger problem. The show was losing its identity, and a series of backstage decisions in the 1980s would just accelerate its journey towards cancellation. The road to cancellation really had several key steps. First, the network tried to inject some primetime glamour by focusing on a new, wealthy family, the Kirklands. Alienated fans started calling the show Kirkland's Hope. Then, core characters were constantly recast, making it so hard to stay invested. But the final blow was a time slot change that pitted it against titans like The Young and the Restless. The ratings never recovered, and in 1989, the bar closed for good. So why, decades after it went off the air, do we still talk about Ryan's Hope? I think it's because in its final moments and in its enduring spirit, it reminded all of us what made it so special in the first place. The show ended not with a crazy cliffhanger or some shocking twist, but with a moment of pure, unadulterated heart. Maeve, the family's matriarch, stood in the bar one last time and sang Danny Boy. It was a perfect, poignant bookend that brought the entire 14-year saga full circle. And for anyone whose curiosity has been sparked, the great news is that this piece of television history isn't lost. You can step back into Ryan's Bar anytime you want, because many classic episodes are available to watch right now on YouTube. Ultimately, the show's title really was its mission statement. For over a decade, Ryan's Hope reminded viewers that even in the middle of heartbreak, hope can rise again. And sometimes it's waiting right around the corner in a family bar on Riverside Drive. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell us in the comments what classic soap opera should we dive into next time.